when I got
Did you get a nap in?
I asked him, we had a little project we might have tried to do tonight, he says, let's just do it Thursday, and I'm like, I could almost squeeze in a little hour. Snoozy snooze and didn't do it.
Yeah, I tried to, and then the grandkids came over and started jumping on me.
I can't take a nap. If I take a nap, I wake up crabby.
I take
My
it,
nap's gotta be 3 hours, if you don't want.
I usually,
I don't even
Wake
know
up
if
like
that's
your wife?
That's not really a nap.
I go home for lunch every day and take 15 minutes. Nap,
Once I come, once I
Siesta.
get home, I'm not going back.
I'd
I
like,
live in Union, so.
yeah.
so where are you parking? You're not on your end spot. Did you find a new space?
I live.
I took your old space.
How you like that truck?
I've only had it a week.
Oh, you got a new vehicle?
Yeah, I got a new, same color,
Same
What'd you get?
Tundra, right?
Toyota Tundra. I found a 2022 with 3,600 miles on it.
That's one you got.
You sold your truck pretty quick, didn't you?
Talking about the value of a nap,
Truck
Sal.
was- I walked into the Boys Club and Daryl Boris, you're selling that truck? I'm like, "Yes." I'll take it.
I'll
My
take it.
old truck. I said, well, he goes, you wanna know what I want for it? He goes, yeah, well, I'd like to know that. So I told him, he goes, okay, how much you check? So that went real well. The price of the new truck is stupid, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But this one, I would've never, if I was picking
Test.
Ready when these come
There we
through.
go.
Why don't they have? Go ahead, Sherry.
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, Tuesday, January 16th, 7 o'clock. Bear? Briggs? Coulter?
Here.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Here.
Reed?
Here.
Wessels?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the council meeting dated January 2nd, 2024? Bear?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Patke?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Need a motion, guys.
Make a motion.
Before we do that, I think there was one incorrect. Page 2, and I apologize, I wasn't here at the meeting, but by the vote, it looks like it passed, but it says it failed.
Page 2, which one?
I'm trying to find it back. I thought I had it earmarked here.
4 to 1. I don't think so.
Not the 4
Bill number 24, no.
They're all 24.
Briggs,
I apologize.
All good?
It's on page 3,
It's 1, 2,
24-12934.
That's the one that failed.
That one did fail, but when I read the
no,
first
the one
time.
right above that, the one right above that said the ordinance was read a second time and failed on the following
That's-
roll call. Aye.
Yes.
I just need to fix it.
Yes.
We can approve it with the amendment.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Holtmeyer, second by Bear. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including consent agenda. You have a 2020 landfill tickets destruction request.
Does that sound like shit or?
Any questions, guys?
What's up, two microphones?
Make a motion.
Okay. Motion by Holtmeyer, second by Coulter to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Citizens' comments?
I think we missed,
Please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Priority items, mayor's presentations, appointments, and reappointments. Police department reappointment. I'm sorry, Jim.
It's all good.
Is she in a hurry?
Good evening, Council, Mayor. This is for a 6-month appointment, second 6 month for Max Keeler. He has finished his field training. He's doing an excellent job for us, so I recommend him for reappointment.
Make a motion.
Second.
motion by Patke, second by Heidrich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, not here, okay?
Citizens' comments.
Anyone in the audience may care to make a comment? Okay. Next.
Ordinances and resolutions. An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Flock Group, Inc. for license plate reader cameras and services.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Holtmeyer.
Good evening again, Council. So this, now that there's a better turnout, we're going to give it another shot. I'm going to have Daryl come up in case you have any questions. He's the expert. He did all the research into getting this together. So if you have any questions for him, he's available. Other than that, I did send you all an email with the PowerPoint presentations. Hopefully you had a chance to read through that. So want to make sure if you had any questions.
Daryl, I apologize, I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I just want to reiterate the fact that this is only taking pictures of color of the car, makes and models on the back or the front, and a license plate.
Just the rear of the
Just the
vehicle.
rear. So no facial recognition, et cetera, for those who had questions about red light cameras.
Nothing.
No facial.
Nowhere even close to that.
Right.
And it stores no information. The only thing there is that photograph. There's no Department of Revenue records, there's no names, there's no anything, just that photograph.
And municipalities around the area that's also has flock includes I know the list is
There's a
many,
long
but-
list.
Long list.
Locally, St. Clair just passed that they're going to implement, I believe, 5 cameras, and then Franklin County's in the process of implementing 5.
And then you have Eureka, Wentzville, Lake St. Louis, Ellisville. I mean, that's why we went with Flock, because it's such a huge footprint in the metro area that, and we all share information. Like they can give us access to their cameras, we give them access to our cameras, and we share hot lists. So like if our detectives work in a case and all they have is a license plate or a vehicle color, they can create this hot list that goes into Flock. And anywhere that that's shared with, whether it's Ellisville, Wentzville, wherever, that vehicle passes a Flock, then we'll get notified. Your car you're looking for was in Lake St. Louis on this date and time.
And that's very advantageous as opposed to any other camera system. To have the same one
Yes.
does help out.
Yes, but I've looked through many different systems, and I think Flock is the most user-friendly, and the fact that our region is covered by them. It would add to our whole network as a regional crime fighting, and actually the state is going to the counterterrorism point with those cameras as well.
So the other communities that have them are happy with them?
Yes.
So if there was an accident someplace and where these cameras are located, it's not gonna be any beneficial to you guys as far to see what happened? You can't.
If it
can
was,
you?
if it was, because the camera, let's take Highway 100 East Fifth Street. That camera is facing westbound. So if the accident happened after the intersection, going westbound, like say in front of Tiger Car Wash, then it might catch that. If it's in the intersection itself, it will not. It does not look at that intersection, but we have other cameras for that, so.
So your opinion, like this smash and grabs and stuff that are in the area, that will help this out if it's, let's say they're on a streak where they're in Florissant or whatever and they do it and then get into Washington and the Flock reads them and you will be notified
Yes.
that car's in the area?
There's actually
Exactly.
one right now they're looking for. It's a white 4Runner, I believe. And that's in the Flock system. So if we had those cameras that showed up here, going to Dick's or Ulta or whatever, it would alert our officers that, hey, it's here. And then they would alert that home agency, whoever put that in there.
So you guys get this information in real time?
Yes, it will go, the notifications will go to dispatch and into our in-car computers automatically. I mean, right like that, so.
So it really wouldn't help though, like if, let's just say somebody did something at Target and they, you know, dashed. And if somebody got a plate number or if somebody got a description of a car, you could put it out there and hopefully, but they may have already gone through that intersection beforehand. I mean, let's say they've already went back to St. Louis.
If it will check backwards also. So if they go east on 100 and it goes past that Flock camera, then they would get it. If they go, let's say they go up 47 and into St. Charles, we're going to have a camera there. It will catch them there. So, or south of 47 towards Union, we'll have a camera there.
Okay.
And going west on 100 out by Bluff Road, there'll be a camera there. So.
Other questions, discussions, guys?
I appreciate your guys' homework, research, as far as that goes, and it seems like, you know, if our chief and captain tell us this is what's gonna help out, then I think that's the thing to do, deter the crime more than anything and protect the citizens.
That's part of it too, because once that word gets out that we have those, other cities have seen that these smash and grabs and retail theft crime has gone down a little bit, so.
You can understand our reluctance though, as far as general public worried to death about Big Brother looking down their throat, you know.
I can, and that's one reason I went to Flock, because the way it's set up, like I said, it just takes a photograph of the back of that vehicle. If it's a beautiful, bright, sunny day, you may be able to tell how many people are in that car, but you're not gonna tell if they're man or woman, teenagers, boys, you know? So it's very privacy concerned, I mean.
And you have to remember, it's in the best interest of the company to keep those things, to keep the privacy there. Otherwise, they don't exist. So that's why they're so focused on encryption and making sure that information is kept private. It's just good business sense for them to do that.
And those images that they take of the rear of those vehicles, they're in there for 30 days, they're gone. Unless it hits off a case, an active case, and we can pull that and put it in a case file. But if that photo's in there and it doesn't hit off in any cases, it's gone within 30 days.
I noticed also in the report that, their proposal, that if a person were to claim some sort of damages accordingly, they are insured to cover that.
That's correct.
That's good, so.
Now, Captain, I kind of told Chief a few things. I've been getting a lot of feedback on this. A lot of people are saying it's against their constitution. A lot of people are telling me that they believe that these business owners ought to have a security guard sitting there if they're worried about this, instead of the taxpayers having to pay for their.
Well, it's not just for the businesses, it's for any crime in the city. It's for stolen vehicles, it's for child abduction, it's for the murder we had at Best Western, that could have helped with that. I mean, it affects so many different crimes. It's not just retail crime. That's just a focus that's something we focused on because we have a lot of that. So, but we also have a lot of cars get broken in neighborhoods. We have a lot of stolen vehicles. I mean, I can't believe how many vehicles a town this size has get stolen. So it helps with all that. And we'll be part of that bigger network. So if a car gets stolen here, it doesn't hit our camera until after, or they're gone before we can make it the hot list, it's gonna get hit in Eureka or wherever. So that will help with that too, recovering that property for a citizen. So.
The success of this stuff, I mean, you're talking to other agencies, I'm sure, and they're grooving on it, they like it.
They
Absolutely.
love it. We've been involved in a few cases. There's a murder, a homicide up in Villa Ridge. The Eureka flock cameras played a part in that investigation. Wentzville, they had officer-involved shooting. Flock played a big part of that investigation. As far as the Constitution, there's no constitutional violation there at all. It's not violating the privacy. It's not anything. It's taking a picture of the back of a car that's on a public street. That's it. So.
Well, their thing is, where's it going to stop? Next, we're going to have visual cameras that you can detect the person driving and so on and so forth, which.
That's never going to happen because that would be, that's already been litigated through red light cameras and all that stuff. So that's why Flock does it this way. So we'll never go that way. So that's.
And I would note that also if we implement that, we're not stuck with it. If you decide down the road that there's issues, we can certainly withdraw that, so just remember that too.
It's not a long-term contract. So,
No.
yeah, we can opt out of the contract after that term expires, 1 or 2 years, whatever we choose, so.
Further
Okay.
questions, guys? Take a motion.
It's an ordinance.
No, ordinance, Doug, they got to.
Thank you.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Flock Group, Inc. for license plate reader cameras and services. Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Bear,
Yes.
Patke,
Yes.
Wessels,
Aye.
Coulter,
Yes.
Heidrich.
Nay.
By your vote, ordinance 7A passes. B, please.
An ordinance accepting the proposal from PNC Equipment Finance for a new Pearson Forcer tanker pumper fire apparatus.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
Good evening, council. In your packet, there's a letter. This is kind of a different deal a little bit. So the fire district has signed a contract to purchase a truck. They are wanting to lease that truck. When we started the financing process with PNC Bank, exactly the same way we did it with the city earlier late last year, mid last year. We were going through the process with PNC, and PNC said if the title is to the City of Washington, the City of Washington needs to be the one with the lease. So I went back, talked to Darren, and talked to the Fire District Board, and so the Fire District Board would like to make the payments through the City of Washington to PNC Bank to buy this truck, essentially. That's what we're looking for.
Questions?
Is that the way everybody seems to go, is leasing?
There's a lot more departments doing it, particularly when you're buying, like St. Charles City's been doing, they do a lease turn-in. Jefferson City does the same thing where They buy trucks, put them on a lease for a period of time, and then actually turn them back in. We're looking at lease purchases. It gives us the option at the end to decide what we want to do. What we're finding is that there is a tertiary market out there, and there's a certain point when that truck value starts to really fall off. And so we right now are holding trucks 20-plus years, and so they're depreciating basically out to nothing. And so we're looking at taking an alternative to that and looking at what's best. It also, from a cash flow perspective, this truck is almost $900,000. The truck the city bought was almost $1 million. Ladder trucks are now getting into the range of almost $2 million. And so if you're trying to make those payments, those are big hits on cash flow, and the leases help kind of balance that out over time.
Thanks.
Other questions, guys?
I'm assuming the letter says we're working on the legal side of this to make sure we have a document that's gonna come fairly quick then. Not that I don't trust the guy at the podium, but that's something that we're gonna,
Our
We
fire
share
district-
legal counsel,
Yeah,
so that
the
helps.
fire district attorney happens to be sitting in your council
Okay.
chambers tonight.
hopefully they can agree on something then.
Hopefully. Further questions or discussions, guys? Sherry?
An ordinance accepting the proposal from PNC Equipment Finance for a new Pierce Enforcer tanker pumper fire apparatus. Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Reed, Bear,
Yes.
Patke,
Yes.
Wessels,
Aye.
Coulter,
Yes.
Heidrich.
Aye.
By your vote, 7B passes. We'll get
Thank you
you a
all.
new apparatus, Tim.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington, Missouri to accept a contractor agreement from Go Green Lawn and Landscape LLC for the Highway 100 median beds maintenance.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Holtmeyer.
So within your packet, you've got the, an agreement to go ahead and enter into with Go Green. We had a 3-year proposal that where they gave us prices for the guaranteed pricing for the next 3 years. Last year, was the first year that we exercised it. It was for $26,500. For 2024, it's $28,000. We convened the median committee that consists of Craig Miller, Dave Waymeyer, Kevin Creedy, Joe Vernacci, Ross, and I'm going to butcher that last name, Mersenkowska, Albert, Mayor Hagedorn, myself, Wayne, and Charles Stankovic. We reviewed that. The committee felt, at least at the meeting or whatever, that the medians had never looked better since we started under this maintenance agreement with them, and wanted to go ahead and pursue the second year as probably the best option since they look so good after this first year. So I know that Councilman Bear wasn't able to go ahead and be at that meeting, but I think the rest of them that you saw that I read off were in attendance and agreed to move forward with the city, so.
You know, didn't we, when we did this approval, I seem to remember we were looking at, maybe we set that aside. We were looking at taking small pieces at a time and
We were look-
converting those to bricks or pavers.
We looked at, we considered that option. That was going to cost a little over $200,000. We presented that to the committee, not just this last time, but prior to entering into this first year contract with them. However, they decided, let's see what this looks like with the maintenance. And with the maintenance, we would still recommend that you continue to do that. It's a lot cheaper than going through your transportation sales tax budget and trying to go ahead and pull funds out of that to go ahead and exercise. One of those options, I believe the cheapest that we could do under that option, John was still here at the time, and he gave us an estimate of somewhere a little over $200,000, I think, at that time. So we still feel that this is the cheapest option that you have to go ahead and keep them looking the way they do.
So will you keep the committee on
Yes.
a yearly basis or
Yep.
twice a year?
Yep.
And look into that, you know, I mean, it's permeable stone is what we talked about. Or when we do replace some of the plantings that are there, that there's different options and a better economically and visibility. Also, my question was, when the city did it, the Parks Department did it, we closed lanes. They have it in their contract that it costs so much to have MoDOT close lanes, but on every occasion that I've seen out there, they did not close lanes. They did it without that.
That's correct. That is on a case-by-case basis with MoDOT. The contractor contacts them and asks MoDOT, they tell them, describe the work that they're going to go ahead and do, and ask them, do they need to close the lane, et cetera, to go ahead and do that work. They are able to go ahead, and I think most of the instances that they had this past year, it's my understanding that MoDOT did not require them to close the lane.
Because we did the same thing, but they did make us do
That's
it.
because we had, probably due to the number of workers that we had out there at one time, I don't know what all the factors, that's
Okay.
not something, but that's my guess, is that you had considerable amount of people out there, and that's the reason why the MoDOT felt safest to go ahead and close it.
Is there anything in the contract that if they don't have that cost infringed on them, that it's a cost savings for us?
It's basically, I think that was reflected in the bids. If you'll remember the bids that we received on this, they were the lowest by far, because the other entities had bids of, I think, in excess of $40,000
They were a lot
due to
higher.
the fact of those lane closures that they anticipated that they would have to go ahead and do. Go Green has had experience with MoDOT and working in other places in West St. Louis County to go ahead and do the work, so.
To be fair, the way it was explained to the committee, they were cheaper because they had the ability to do the lane shutdowns themselves, which, do they know the secret code word to not have to do it or what? My only concern there would be a liability thing, and I think, contracting to them, we as a city are not responsible then, they
That's
have to
correct. They have to
dot their
provide
i's and cross their t's and make sure that when they're supposed to have it shut down for, if it is the number of people or whatever it is, that they do it, but.
And that was a concern that we had with using our own forces as well, that was discussed at the committee, is that we have that exposure then when we do.
Right.
But for what it's worth, I will say it did look better this year. There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt, but it
So-
should look good. If you're telling me that the city will go out there with twice the amount of people that these people did it in, and, it didn't ever look that good, you're telling me that they hit it with fewer people and it looks a lot better. What's wrong with that picture?
I think they had more opportunities to go out there and do maintenance than the city. The city would only set aside probably 3 or 4 times a year, and the contractor would go out there probably once a month. And so,
That's actually called out in this contract, what their visits are, and, early in the year, there's more, and late in the year, there's less.
I'd like to keep the options of, our options open moving forward.
you do.
You know what I mean?
This is probably the best, I think, because we got prices locked in for 3 years.
Right.
You do not have to, you have to exercise that option every year before you move forward. So this basically puts it in for 2024 that they'll be continue to do the maintenance. The end of '24, it's up to the council again whether or not you want to move forward with the contract with them or move in a different direction.
And more so than the contractor in this contract tonight, but the committee and just those other options looking forward again. You know what I mean? That we go
Yep.
out to bid and those other options that we talked about.
Absolutely.
That we don't just let that die and we have what we're doing, whatever.
I will say that, and I've said this before at other committees with regards to your sales tax for transportation, you have just about every dollar of that spent going up between now and 2030. If you want to go ahead and start proposing something similar to what John had, even if you wanted to do one of those 4 medians, we're going to have to go ahead and go back to our budget and take that off of another street project that we have in the future.
That we're doing 80-20 cost share.
You got it.
So
Right.
it goes a lot further on the street than it does on a median. Right.
Further discussion? Go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Washington, Missouri to accept a contractor agreement from Go Green Lawn and Landscape LLC for the Highway 100 median beds maintenance. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
No.
Bear?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Heidrich?
Aye.
By your vote, 7C passes. D, please.
An ordinance accepting the proposal from Wonderlic Surveying and Engineering, Inc. for engineering design services for the Fox Crest Drive Extension Project and amend the 2024 budget.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Holtmeyer.
Speaking of the Transportation Sales Tax Fund, this is the design services to go ahead for the Fox Creek connection. This would design the streetway going from where the bridge is proposed to be all the way over to Earthcrest Drive that we did in the development agreement a couple of meetings ago.
Is somebody else doing the bridge design?
Yes, Cochran's almost finished with that bridge design.
Okay.
We should have those, I think we should receive those within a month, and then we would be able to go out, the intention was to go out for bids this spring. But that's on that phase of the project, just the bridge over there. This is for the roadway.
Yeah, I
Pick it up.
understand.
No further questions or discussion? Okay, go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance accepting the proposal from Wonderlic Surveying and Engineering, Inc. for engineering design services for the Fox Crest Drive Extension Project and amend the 2024 budget. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Hydrich?
Aye.
By your vote, 7D passes. Progress continues. Go ahead.
An ordinance amending Schedule 4, no parking at any time of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
Couple items on the traffic committee that you have that they're proposing. Third Street there where the entrance, or where the parking lot is for the employees with Mercy crossing Third Street, they're adding 70 feet of, on either side. Actually, it's on the, I take that back, it's on the other side of 47 on the east side where they had a sight distance issue. And then I think there's some additional ones that they're picking up on High Street as recommendations from that committee.
I want to thank Sergeant Grissom, and I know Chief Armstrong for allowing them to do that. I've had the issue here on High Street's been one of those deals whenever they have things going on at Borgia High School where it's full. It's a very bad sight distance. Met with Sergeant Grissom and goes through the process, and it's taken care of, so I appreciate that, so thank you.
Is that painted curbs or signs only?
It'll be curb.
Painted curbs, to my understanding.
Further discussion? Go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance amending Schedule 4, no parking at any time of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Bear?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Hydrich?
By your vote, 7E passes. 7F, please.
An ordinance amending Schedule 13, loading and unloading zones of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri.
Holtmeyer.
Introduced by Holtmeyer.
This is the area that's just north of Second Street on the east side of Elm Street where there was a loading zone that was there. It was to help with a ADA parking location. No longer needed, and committee recommended to delete it. Actually, I think we had a request by the
We did,
by
yes,
a
we did.
business
The
owner down
original
there.
business that requested it, yes.
Yep.
No discussion? Okay, go ahead, Sherry.
An ordinance amending Schedule 13, loading and unloading zones of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri. Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Bear?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Hydrich?
Aye.
By your vote, 7F passes. G, please.
A resolution authorizing the City of Washington, Missouri to apply for funding through the East-West Gateway Council of Governments to provide for the East Fifth Street roadway and ADA improvements project in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Bear.
Introduced by Bear.
For the council items, the resolutions 7G through 7J are all resolutions that we're getting prepared to go ahead and submit applications to East West Gateway. This first one is for a new application along Fifth Street. This was to, project will overlay and remove and replace curb and gutter, make ADA sidewalks along East Fifth Street from Highway 100 to International Avenue. And so total project cost or estimate at this time would be at $3,020,936. So the city's match on that would be $601,780.
You know, how does this, mentioned 7G. I think that's the one where,
This is the one that's for vote now, but go ahead. Sorry.
well, but in connection with 7G, which is also Fifth Street, this goes all the way to 100. And on 7G, that's where we eventually want to put in those extra lanes.
That's, yes, that's on 7J, and,
Excuse me, J.
yeah, that's 7J, and that's a separate application, that's the CMAC application, where we would want to go ahead and hopefully get the dual left turn lanes and the dedicated right. This is a separate overlay project, it's a separate pot of money for the preservation of that roadway. We apply regularly every year to go ahead and apply for funding to go ahead and overlay those streets that are federally eligible.
Well, my question is, if we overlay that and put those curves in, then we got to come back in?
No, I mean,
Tear 'em out.
no. It's I don't know exactly the scope of where it starts and ends, but it will not interfere with one another.
Okay.
And then it says to make and add ADA sidewalks. So we'll have a sidewalk along Fifth Street?
I think there's portions of that. I don't know the complete scope of what we're looking for with that, but yes.
I'm thinking in my
probably
mind that we
some-
don't have any sidewalks.
You do not on
Fifth
East
right now.
Fifth Street. That's correct.
So would we add one the whole way?
I would say at least on one side, yes.
So is there a right-of-way issue with that too? But that's,
No, you got quite a bit of right-of-way out there. I mean, you've got quite a bit of right-of-way. It's not as tight as other parts in town where you need those temporary. I don't want to say that you're not going to need any right-of-way or any temporary construction easements, but I think you've got quite a bit in this area
You
already.
gotta remember that used to be Highway 100.
Yes,
oh, I know, right, I'm with you.
That's where you got the extra right-of-way.
right.
In most cases where we have ADA sidewalks in these improvements, we have current sidewalks there.
Correct.
But now, we did it on High Street, there's no
Right.
doubt about it, but now Fifth Street, that's just a bigger
Yeah.
project than what we're
Well,
normally
adding
doing.
sidewalks on Jefferson Street, too.
And I will tell you that is part of the grant process or whatever, the
need it.
points, you need it to go ahead and provide that also that pedestrian portion of that as well within your design.
If they come up with those 100 units out there, they might need a sidewalk.
Well, right, even without those, I don't see we need them. I mean, the south side of Fifth Street would be the right spot, down to the trail, and on up, so.
Further questions, discussion?
If it's a resolution, I'll second Bear's motion.
Okay.
You have a motion and a
Got a
second.
motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Resolution passes, excuse me. Let's do a resolution for H, please.
A resolution authorizing the City of Washington, Missouri to apply for funding through the East-West Gateway Council of Governments to provide for the Front Street ADA Improvements Project in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
So items H and I, we have already submitted applications to East West Gateway and were awarded grants. Unfortunately, what a lot of cities within the St. Louis metropolitan area are running into, the same thing we are, is inflation when the bids come back in. So in order to account for that, what East West Gateway encourages those cities to do is to go ahead and resubmit those applications if you have updated cost estimates on what it would be. Our original cost for this one on Front Street was approximately $962,000. We are asking for the new construction cost of $1,651,915. That's an additional increase of $551,932. So that's how East West Gateway encourages us to go ahead and to apply for the additional funds so we can get as much close to the 80% as we can of federal assistance on.
And if awarded, it does not change the schedule. It stays
Correct.
the original schedule we had.
Correct.
And is that figure, where does that figure come from, the new figure,
The new figure,
the new estimate?
the new estimate, I believe our department came up with the new estimate. And based on projects that we've had, what we've seen bids come in, unit costs. I will tell you the next one too is it's the same thing for High Street. Same thing. We're going to be resubmitting for that, and I can give you those numbers when we get there.
My introduction was a motion to approve.
Motion by Patke, second by Holtmeyer. Further discussion on this one? All those in favor say aye. Aye. By your vote, 7H passes. Aye, please.
A resolution authorizing the City of Washington, Missouri to apply for funding through the East-West Gateway Council of Governments to provide for the High Street reconstruction and ADA improvements project in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Need a motion.
Coulter. Introduced by Coulter.
So, on High Street, for this project, the original construction costs were estimated to be a total of $1,093,750. With this application, we'll be requesting $1,648,006, an increase of $443,405. And you see the breakdown with regards, our local match on this project would be $329,000.
Discussion?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by Coulter, second by Patke. Is that right?
Correct.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes by 7E and 7J finally, Sherry.
A resolution authorizing the City of Washington, Missouri to apply for funding through the East-West Gateway Council of Governments to provide for the Highway 100 East 5th Street intersection improvements project in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
Introduced by Coulter.
This project, this is a new application, and again, as I said earlier, in what we presented to you, I think Charles gave it to you at the workshop, we would be requesting funds through East-West Gateway for a CMAQ application. The total project cost for this, for the intersection improvements, would be $1,137,373. City's match would be $226,568. Again, they're looking at trying to improve that intersection with a dedicated right-hand turn lane for traffic going westbound on 100 and dual left turn lanes to go on East 5th Street going eastbound on Highway 100.
I'll second Mr. Coulter's motion.
Second by Bear. Discussion on this, guys? Questions?
I think it needs to be done. Hopefully, we can get some funds.
Yeah. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Progress, guys, more of it. Thank you.
Mayor's report.
Second council meeting next month is going to be Tuesday, the 19th, due to President's Day holiday. I'd just like to thank all you guys who attended today for the Coffee with the Mayor thing. I had a good time, learned a lot. Hope you guys did too. Proved a lot of important stuff, you guys, that move us further on down the road to getting our infrastructure, helping the police department out. So, thank you.
City Administrator's report.
Two items. Just wanted to let you know, I think Wayne had addressed the council, let them know that the Missouri Parks and Recreation Association awarded Downtown Washington, Inc. An outstanding citation for their contribution for the playground that was there, and their contribution on our riverfront. And so they will be here to present that to Downtown Washington at their meeting, our next meeting on February the 5th. And that's also the meeting where Downtown Washington will probably be providing you with their annual report that they do every year. So that was the one item. Second item just is that the Employee Appreciation Dinner that you're all invited to is this Friday out at the auditorium. Doors open shortly before 6. We had to move it back to this week due to the inclement weather that was coming our way last weekend. So hope to see most of you there. And then we do have items for executive session.
Back to the next month's meeting, the 19th is a Monday, so it'll be the 20th.
Let's see what that is. Make sure we're clear.
That is correct.
It would be Tuesday, the 20th.
Okay? My bad. I didn't catch that. Thank you.
Council comments.
High Street and 100, we were talking about High Street anyway, and it sparked. Can we put any pressure on MoDOT for the High Street and 100 light? There's no turn arrow going south on High Street onto 100. There's no turn arrow there, and the length of the light is very short there. I know we brought this up before, and certain times it is longer, but when Borges let out, it's terrible.
That's terrible. That's a terrible
I
intersection.
mean, there's no time at all, and there's no arrow. If there's somebody coming northbound, nobody moves.
To answer your question, yes, we can always put pressure on MoDOT to go ahead and do that. Have we before? Yes.
Yes, and
We
I
have
know.
asked Stephen O'Connor to go ahead and take a look at that at the Highway, Washington Area Highway Committee meeting. We will continue to do that. I'll take a look at it. I know it was an ongoing discussion item, so we can ask and see what they found out if they looked into it, yeah. But I will do that.
He said they can do it remotely too, so
Right.
they don't even have to have a guy come out.
Yeah, that's one of their,
Well, not for an arrow, they'd have to put an arrow.
Yeah, there needs to be an arrow or
They can
something.
study it remotely is what he's saying.
Yeah,
Instead of the flashing yellow arrow, we need a green arrow.
right.
You never get across there.
No. I know,
You still do.
years ago, I pushed on them for, right there at Rabbit Trail on 100, and they did, from a car and a half, they let 3.5 cars through. So it was, I don't know, that half car is kind of risky.
It's your
But that's how they
progress.
dictate it. It's, well,
Listening to you.
yeah, I hear you. Another problem is, I would like to, Mr. Piontek, I'd like to ask you to look into any local surrounding ordinances, these homeless tents that we're starting to see now. I know at one time, somebody had an article about some municipality that they passed that we couldn't put tents up in the community. Not in here, but somebody had a certain township, I don't know, it was last year, 2 years ago, something like that. Now we're starting to see them. As we all know, it's hard to move them. It's hard on our police staff, our chief and captain to actually enforce anything. We need to try to find something. We need to start trying to find,
What is it you want to prohibit?
I guess, we talked about tents, these pop-up tents in general.
And you don't want, what, somebody can't put a tent in their backyard, they can't live in a tent, they can't put them up on public what is it you're trying to get at?
I guess it would be a lengthy stay on any public property.
I don't know that we've had, I guess, just for clarification, and Jim, please chime in, Darrell, same thing. I think what we have had has been, they go out and they work with the private property owners
Yes.
to remove
been on
those
private.
tents and
Now,
those
we have had
situations.
But we
camping
have-
on public property, but that's already prohibited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, we can,
And-
that's easy, we don't even have
Yes.
to go through the property owner then, because we can go ahead and make it.
Okay, but we have a situation now where we can't find who the property owner is, and there's a tent. Because it was an LLC, and the LLC is very vague to, this person's gone, and we can't find the owner. So are we just going to let this tent these people stay there then and trash this area of our town? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for when we can't find the business, or when we can't find the.
We can
the owner.
find the owner, it's getting the owner to be responsive is the
Yeah.
Well, in this
situation.
situation, we can't find the owner.
Yeah, it's in progress. Yeah.
And in
I-
the same
it's
situation,
difficult.
Mark, to add to that, in that exact situation, those people have ran an extension cord to the business next door and have stole electric there. So now you are able to prosecute that, correct?
The business owner did not want to
Yeah,
prosecute.
they don't want to prosecute.
Okay. The store manager was, when I spoke with her, it was, we will do everything we possibly can, and now maybe the actual owner won't do it.
That is correct.
That's what we're running into. So that was,
So, and you gotta watch too, since we set up tents, if You know, you're talking about a picnic tent might be there for 4 days or so, 5 days, and is that, you know, you get into that situation, you know, if you're talking about just tents, then you gotta watch.
Well, we
It's
all
hard to
know
do.
what we're talking about. We all know exactly what the problem is
I know,
here.
I know.
I'd like to ask,
It's not in a festival district, you know?
Fine,
I mean,
I'll
it's
say
not
it.
in a festival district, Joe. I mean, we know Borges is gonna put tents up, but we know.
I'm just
Orr's, I
saying,
mean, Casey Hall, but
I'm just saying that could get into a bigger discussion.
I think the one that you're referring to, though, Mark, that is not on public property, that is on private
It's
property.
private property, yes.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise, we wouldn't have a problem finding it. We would know, we know what's public and we know what's private.
yeah, I'm sorry, it's private. I'm just trying to find some kind of answer somewhere, because this is just gonna get worse.
I'll see what I can do.
I don't know, I guess if the one, I mean, is the one that you were referring to, is that the one
Behind
over there behind
Advanced?
Advanced Auto Parts?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Cannot, yeah, and it's an LLC.
And we have tried to reach out to the registered agent.
We have, without getting into detail, there's, one of the owners is deceased and the other claims he no longer owns it, so it'd be a legal thing to research. Yeah.
Okay.
and then just recently, we've dealt with the same situation behind the post office.
But they have given us the approval to go
Correct.
ahead
We went through that process. We talked
and
with
tell them to no
NAI
trespass.
Desco, the people from Schnucks. They've cooperated with us. It took a few weeks, but now
Correct.
they've prosecuted,
And
so
the
they
same,
trespassed.
same thing behind Penny's, you know.
Right.
That happened back there, and they were back there again and trashed it again, and the owner had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to clean it up.
Right.
It's a problem
I-
everywhere.
I got something else.
I just want to try to
Oh, I understand.
nip it wherever we can, Joe,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we need to
agree.
do something about it.
I see Cowboy pulled the dock out. Is that our dock, the courtesy dock?
Yes.
Last year we had a bid on that?
We had some improvements that were done. I think SK Contracting did some improvements on.
Who's doing it this year?
I'm not aware that we had a contract with, I don't
I
remember
thought he
that.
said the park.
Wayne told us in the Parks meeting that they were coming to get it pulled out of the,
I think we're fixing it ourselves.
and
We
we're
just
fixing
hired
ourselves in
somebody.
the Parks office.
That a boy. I don't think we're sharpening many lawnmower blades right now. They could be working on that dock. That's what I was
I was
getting ready to raise hell.
Reed wants us to work on the dock in the shop, so that's what they're doing.
Yes,
Easy, big.
I do. Another thing is, and I've talked about it before down there, is that the river conditions are perfect. I mean, it's cold now, but there's trash down there in the river, tires, barrels, picnic tables, stuff like that. And alls I get is chin boogie about, we can't go in the river because we're gonna get cited for, we need a Army Corps of Engineers permit. I say bull. There's not an agency in the world that's gonna give you trouble about taking trash, picking up trash. I don't care where you're at. Nobody's gonna give you any trouble over picking up trash.
Is there more trash than the pictures that I sent you that day that
What about-
showed there was 2 barrels?
A tire.
There was an old, I didn't even see a tire, but there was 2 blue barrels that were basically what goes under the docks of somebody who put those there, not the
Somebody,
city.
yeah.
I guess I understand if there's a ton of trash, we'd have another discussion. But in this case, it's basically a couple of, like I said, barrels that private people put that is now on our banks, our property, and we feel like we have to go down there and clean that up?
Well, you know, every year,
I guess that's my question is that best use of city funds?
Aren't you talking about the debris though, too, that washes out down there?
well, I don't wanna get into that because that's a different thing. Then you
that's
may
what you were
need a
talking
permit.
That's-
I'm talking about picnic tables that I see down there, trash, barrels. Everything that ends up in that river at one point belonged to somebody else.
Right.
You know, I can't help it, they're barrels, but it just needs to be picked up while we got time. And they've got time. I would tend to think that whoever can do this, parks, whoever, have got time right now to do that. We're not mowing any grass. So I think it could be done. And I don't think there's anybody in the world that's gonna give you any grief over picking up trash out of the river.
Well, that's just one issue of going and driving down there through the river. That's just one issue with the Corps. I'm just talking about in general, looking at the pictures, and I took these pictures on December 19th, when you had reached out to me.
It's still there.
And I guess I'll share these pictures, I'll pass them around on what's on my phone. I really don't know that there's anything out there that we really need to be going and getting.
I've looked.
I mean, there was 2 barrels, Dwayne, down there.
There's a.
That go
tire-
under docks,
There's a
that
tire
somebody
on-
that operates those docks owns. And we should be sending our crews down there to pick up their stuff?
What about all the other trash
Yeah.
that comes down the river?
Not the boat club, other private docks that have been down there.
I'm just saying that there's no reason in the world we can't clean up. There's a picnic table down there. There's a tire with a rim on it down there. I think it could be done.
I'm not saying it can't be done.
Well, it seems like it takes an awful lot to get her done.
Where's the picnic table?
But he didn't see the picnic table, he didn't see the spare tire. It's there, I promise.
I had 2 items. These are good news. One, if you haven't seen the article that Missourian did on Sal's report for last year and the coming year, you take a look at it and Sal, I thought you did a fine job of reporting on that also at the chamber breakfast. And this thing this morning, for the mayor's first breakfast, I actually came, I was feeling sorry for the mayor. I told my wife, you know, it's cold and there's snow and everything else. She said, you going out? I said, hey, on a morning like this, the guy's only gonna get 1 or 2 people. I'm gonna show up, you know, make them feel good. This place was full. It was full. So that was excellent. Good job.
I was really happy about that. Thank you.
I wasn't going to put it that way, Mark, but I did feel the same way. I thought I should. I was pleasantly surprised to see that the parking lot was full and there was many people here and the interest that was taken, so, thanks again.
Nothing to do with this.
Other comments, guys? Okay.
City Attorney's Report, public vote on whether or not to hold a closed meeting to discuss personnel, legal, and real estate matters pursuant to Section 610.021 RSMO 2000. Bear?
Yes.
Whoops. Let's try this again. Holtmeyer?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Bear?
Again.
Thank you. Patke?
Sure.
Wessels?
Aye.
Coulter?
Yes.
Hydrich?